from Southern California, Game 2 between the red-hot Los Angeles Angels and the Minnesota Twins. Last night, more of the same, unfortunately, for the Twins. They're having a terrible time beating the Angels. The Angels ran the table on the Twins last year, and they won the first game of the season series this year, doing everything well last night. Pitching, fielding, hitting. The Angels won comfortably last night. The Twins will try to break that losing streak here tonight, and we welcome you to Southern California. Dick Bramer along with Jack Morris. And the biggest issue for the Twins in this short game, 3-game losing streak has been a lack of offense, a lack of hitting that we did not see going into the break.
No, in fact, it was just the opposite. They were on kind of a roll, and Tom Bernansky talked a little bit about the timing of the guys. More than anything, I think they've been over-anxious. They're trying to do too much. They're swinging out of the zone. They've committed 27 strikeouts in the last 2 games alone, and that just shows that they're over-anxious. They've swung, like I said, a lot of balls that are out of the zone when they're behind.
And Tom Bernansky, the hitting coach, says the key right now is to not overreact or panic.
It always comes back to getting simple, and that's something that we believe in and preach. But I think the situation that we're now being a little bit different coming back from the All-Star break, 4 days off are gold physically because it lets all of our aches and pains heal, and when we come back, everybody feels fresh and strong. Unfortunately, on the hitting side of it, the timing takes a bad hit, and guys kind of get back in there, and they're a little off here or there.
And the Twins really struggling the last couple of games without Miguel Sano. He's back in the lineup tonight. But one thing should be acknowledged. You come out here to the West Coast, you're going to run into some pretty good pitching. First in Oakland, that staff year in and year out is always pretty good. And now these Angels pitching as well as anybody.
Yeah, the Angels seem to be really on a roll. The whole team, all the starters have done well. And they're doing it without arguably one of their aces, a guy that's been the ace in the past, and that's Jared Weaver. And he should be back in the rotation here shortly. But this pitching staff has done a great job. Of course, they've had the offense behind them to give them support. And it's just a team that's really hitting on all cylinders.
2 of the best teams in the American League will face off, and both teams will see the return of a marquee player. For the Twins, Miguel Sano back in the lineup, and for the Angels, Mike Trout back in the starting lineup tonight for Game 2. Fourth is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Luther Nissan Kia. 2 locations, 1 very low price. And by Chrysler. Enjoy your summer in style with great deals at the Chrysler Summer Clearance Event. There are 68 games left for the Twins after tonight's game, and coming out of the break, the Twins won the first game. At one point they were 50-40, but now 3 losses in a row out here on the West Coast. Ball game that looked like it was going to be one of those swing games on a Saturday night, but then Oakland swung it back in their favor, and then a couple of blowout losses. And Jack, we haven't seen games like that back to back much at all, really, since the first week of the season.
No, and it'd be great for the Twins to kind of come out and be a little more aggressive, score early. That's one thing that they were doing back in May when they were on such a great roll, and they were doing it early this month. So they need to try to get on the board first and stay there.
Menard's batting order for the Twins does welcome back Miguel Sano. Missed a few games with a sprained ankle. Back in the starting lineup is the designated hitter. So Dozier, Hunter, Mauer, then Sano, Plouffe, Rosario, Hicks, Fryer, and Danny Santana back in at short.
And they're going to be facing a familiar face. C.J. Wilson's making his 20th start for the Angels. He's registered a quality start in 6 of his last 7 outings. Tossed 8 shutout innings in his last start against Boston, but did not factor in the decision. And as a starter versus the Twins, he's 6-2 with almost a 6 ERA. So the Twins have scored runs off of him, but he's also had a lot of run support himself.
Northland Ford defense for the Angels. Matt Joyce is in left. Daniel Robertson is in center. Mike Trout back in the lineup as the designated hitter. Cole Calhoun in right. David Freese, Eric Ibar, Johnny Giavotella, Albert Pujols, the infielders, Chris Iannetta back behind the plate. Coming into play tonight, the Twins are 7 games above the 500 mark. They are 6 games above the 500 mark against left-handed starting pitching. So you look for little omens, stats, whatever that can get you into a game on a positive note, and there's one right there. The Twins have handled left-handers much better than right-handers, and in fact some of the toughest lefties. Chris Sale, for instance, they've beaten him 3 times, so you'd like to think that they can have some success anyway against C.J. Wilson.
Joe Mauer really the only left-handed hitter in the lineup. We've got a couple switch hitters, and Aaron Hicks and Danny Santana, so C.J. Wilson's going to see predominantly a right-handed lineup here, at least to start the game.
Wilson having a solid year, coming off a really good start against the Red Sox. 8 innings, no runs allowed. Red Sox had a really tough time against this Angel staff, and the Twins did last night coming out of the break. Brian Dozier takes a fastball up and away. Angels have played 5 games out of the break, and their pitching staff has pitched 3 shutouts, including the game that Wilson started against them. 1-0, and driven hard but foul. 1-1. Dozier with a tough night at the plate last night. 3 strikeouts and a tapper back to the mound.
Like all pitchers, when C.J. Wilson's pitching well,
pop back and out of play.
He does not make a lot of mistakes. He's got a very good breaking ball, changeup, keeps the ball down. But he's been known to make a lot of mistakes out over the plate, and the Twins need to capitalize on those mistakes. They start chasing the ball with 2 strikes, it's going to be a little bit more of the same.
We saw the Angels rack up a pile of hits, and a lot of them up the middle into the opposite field in last night's game. We'll see what the hitting approach is here tonight. Dozier saying he fouled it into the dirt, and Dozier asking home plate umpire Kerwin Danley to check with Rob Drake. And Dozier adamant that he foul tipped the ball into the dirt, which would mean the at bat was still alive. But
well, Rob Drake, he did check. Kerwin Danley did check with Rob Drake, and he indicated that it was not a foul tip, and then Dozier was hoping that Danley would have heard it himself.
Looked like that was a clean catch by Iannetta.
It's too hard to really see from that angle. It'll go down as a strikeout.
1 down, and that'll bring up Hunter. And Hunter takes a fastball on the outside corner. I suspect that when the Twins break out of the offensive slump that they're in, Torrey Hunter will be a big part of it. We talked about the Angel hitters last night getting a lot of hits up the middle and to the opposite field. We've seen Torrey progress as a hitter that way. Tapper to short here. Ibar has an easy play. 2 down.
It'll be interesting to see if the Twins do any bunting. David Freese has been playing off the line and deep at third base. Not the greatest fielding third baseman. Albert Pujols getting up there in years, and he doesn't move as well as he once did. I know Paul Molitor would probably like to see a few guys maybe attempt a bunt that might build their confidence, get base runners out there. And a lot of things can happen when you have base runners.
Here's Bauer facing Wilson. Ordinarily, Joe holds his own and in some cases even excels against left-handed pitching, but Wilson's really owned Joe Mauer. Joe with just 3 hits in 28 at-bats against this lefty. Fouled away, and quickly 2 strikes.
Wilson can touch the low 90s with his fastball. His breaking ball is about 5 to 7 miles an hour slower. Does throw the changeup, and that can be anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour slower.
2 strikes. This is the 10th pitch of the inning, and inside to Mauer. Twins 19 and 13 against left-hand starting pitching. Of course, Scott Kazmir started this 3-game losing streak. A lefty for the Oakland A's. He pitched Saturday's game, and then a couple of blowout losses. 2-2. Sano hoping for a chance with a man aboard here in the first inning. High chopper over the mound. Giavotella has it. Flips to first. And C.J. Wilson with a 1-2-3 first inning. They're playing better than anybody else in either league. In the Menards batting order for the Angels, Johnny Giavotella leading off. Cole Calhoun batting second. Mike Trout back in the lineup as the designated hitter, batting third. Then Albert Pujols, Eric Ibar, David Freese, Chris Iannetta, Matt Joyce, and Daniel Robertson.
Mike Pelfrey will be towing the rubber for the Twins tonight. He's making his 18th start. It's kind of well documented. He's been struggling lately. He lost his last 4 starts. And he's making his 10th start on the road, 2-4 with a 6 ERA. So Mike needs a big game here tonight.
through April, through May, and into June, Mike Pelfrey was one of the feel-good stories of the year. He just happened to be pitching for the Twins, a guy who battled a lot of injuries, claimed throughout the injury period that if he was healthy, he thought he could be a reliable starting pitcher, and he was just that. He was beyond reliable. In April, an ERA of 2.25. In May, an ERA of 3.21. In his first 2 starts in June, 15 innings and 1 run allowed. 1-1. And that will bleed through for a base hit. Patella with a weak ground ball and another hit up the middle for the Angels. Patella aboard for Cole Calhoun, the Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Eddie Rosario's in left, Aaron Hicks in center, Torrey Hunter in right. Fluke, Santana, Dozier, Bauer, infielders. Eric Fryer getting the start behind the plate. Kurt Suzuki's really had a tough time with C.J. Wilson. Danny Santana, the latest shortstop to get a shot out there. Twins are waiting for somebody to take the job and run with it for a while, and the hope still is that Santana can do that. Here's Cole Calhoun. Down and in, ball 1. Pelfrey has induced 20 ground ball double plays this year. We said that of Kyle Gibson last night. The only double play grounder he got, he threw into center field.
Well, already with one hitter to face Pelfrey, he finds himself out of the stretch. Talking to Neil Allen, one of the things he really likes to see Mike do is stay tall. He's 6'7", and he wants him to pitch like he's 6'7", have a very good downward plane. Sometimes he spreads his legs out a little too far when he's out of his stretch. And when you spread your legs further, you lower your physical height. He wants to keep his feet shoulder width, no more than shoulder width, so that when he pushes off, he's got that good arm angle.
1-1. There's a ground ball that hits the mound. Santana to Dozier, and no chance to get the speedy Calhoun in a dangerous play for a second baseman. And a little professional courtesy there. Giavotella, a second baseman himself, with a courtesy slide at second base, not threatening to injure Dozier at all.
See some sort of breaking ball that might have been his split finger. Santana doing a good job to just get the lead runner right there. That's about all they're going to be able to do. Another thing we can watch with Mike Pelfrey is his pace of game. Last year he was on a very anemic pace, and the Twins really were getting frustrated with him at times, trying to speed him up. And he did a lot better job with that early in the year when he was winning ball games.
Down and away a ball.
One of the things that might have really helped Mike is the actual new rule that makes him speed up a little bit between pitches. But when he's confident throwing the ball in the strike zone, getting ahead of hitters, it's a whole different ball game, of course, than last year when he was probably struggling with his physical ailments and not being able to command his pitches.
Mike Trout couldn't play last night. He had a sore heel. He woke up with it yesterday. The Angels had a split doubleheader the day before with the Boston Red Sox. And Trout rarely takes a day off, but he felt like he needed one. The plan was to give Albert Pujols a day off yesterday. Fly ball right field. Hunter running toward the line is there for out number 2. For the briefest time, the Twins looked like they were going to play the opening game of this series with neither Trout nor Pujols in the starting lineup last night. But once Trout said, you know, I think I better have a day, then Albert Pujols went to Mike Scioscia and said, hey, I want to play. And so they put Pujols in the lineup.
Yeah, Pujols DH last night at first base tonight, and Trout is DHing, so the center fielder will still be Daniel Robertson.
2 down, a runner at first, and here is Pujols.
You see the home run leaders, number 1 and number 2 in the American League, are these 2 guys, and single-handedly they're putting on some kind of power display. Mike Trout not in the lineup, like I said, last night, and yet the Angels still dominated the game without him. One of the game's great players, great young players. Of course, Albert Pujols figured out a way to get a couple knocks last night, a couple infield hits.
Ordinarily, you'd say if you held Pujols to 2 infield hits, you'd like your chances of maybe picking up a win.
Yeah.
1 strike to Pujols. Speed pitch, 1-1. Really is remarkable here that Trout and Pujols are both on a pace to hit around 50 home runs, something that baseball hasn't seen since Mantle and Maris in 1961. Used to be,
if you're
most of our lifetime, the 50 home run mark was an almost unbreakable milestone, 50 in a season. That gets away from Fryer, but Calhoun didn't get a good look at it and stays at first base. 2-1. Calhoun probably should be at second base right now.
He doesn't really see how far away from Fryer it gets, and I think that's an instinct. You either go right when it is bouncing, or you don't go at all. That ball not that far behind Eric Fryer.
Fryer, prior to this year, when he was hitting really well at AAA, known as a defensive catcher, very good arm.
They're going to go in on Pujols right here,
and that ball will skip to Dozier. Everything hit on the ground except for one short fly ball to right field, and it's a scoreless first inning. His at bats once he's fallen behind 0-2.
Sixth inning of Friday's game against Sonny Gray. He does a great job of, with 2 strikes, being patient, something the Twins haven't shown here much as of late. And he works himself to a full count, fouls a couple balls off, and then is able to walk. And this is all prior to the grand slam home run from Trevor Plouffe. One of the few mistakes that Sonny Gray made, but those are the kind of things that give Twins fans a lot of optimism about Sano. He seems to see the ball well and doesn't offer too many times that balls off the plate.
Now, he does have a lot of strikeouts. In fact, 19 of them. And he takes strike 1, and so here we are. It's 0-2. 43 at bats and 19 strikeouts.
Yeah, he ended up striking out 3 times the game after that, but that's also the day that he had a sprained ankle.
And this is what we've seen. 0-2, and with so many hitters, particularly ones called up from AA, if you blink after strike 2, you've missed strike 3. We have not seen as much of that from Sano as you might expect.
One of the things you kind of wonder about, he seems to be,
and he takes a called third strike, 1 down.
He seems to be comfortable hitting with 2 strikes.
Already has a home run on an 0-2 pitch, a double on an 0-2 pitch. 2 strikeouts for Wilson. Each strikeout leading off an inning, and now Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe hitless last night, but he hit 3 balls to the right side, and I think therein lies a sliver of a silver lining. At least Trevor wasn't getting himself out by trying to pull the ball without at least considering hitting the ball to the opposite field. He hit 3 balls to Cole Calhoun last night, and now he takes up 1-1. A little bit low, 2-1.
The Twins are going to work themselves out of this slight slump, mini slump that they're in right now as a team offensively, but it's one of those times where the games are critical. The division race, coming out of the box in the second half, playing really good teams. You want to send a message to those teams. These are the kind of teams you could be facing in postseason. You don't want to have them walk all over you so that they feel confident if they happen to face like the Angels or the Yankees coming up.
3-1 to Plouffe. Scalded over the head of Gene Glenn, 3-2. You know, there have been periods where the Twins have faced teams that had been playing pretty good baseball. The Cardinals have played Cardinals 4 games, and they lost the 2 in St. Louis, won the 2 in Minnesota. All 4 games very competitive, very fun to be a part of. Foul back. And then remember, at the start of the last homestand, the Orioles were going pretty good. The Twins swept the Orioles at Target Field, and you just got the sense that the Orioles could have been there for a week and a half and not beaten the Twins. The Twins were going so good in that series that they were going to keep beating the Orioles until the Orioles finally got tired of it and left town. Here's a liner to the shortstop Ibar, 2 down. And before Eddie Rosario comes to the plate, let's go to Marnie Gelb.
You guys were talking about the Twins trying to get out of this slump here. I spoke to Torrey Hunter, who said it's really just a matter of getting back in a rhythm again. And he said that last weekend in Oakland, he felt like he was in a funk, that baseball has funks, and that the team has been in one. And Trevor Plouffe, who just hit the ball hard right there, said, you know, it could start tonight. A swinging bunt and a stolen base that leads to a run, then the floodgates open. Plouffe said, we still know that we have a potent offense. It's just a matter of getting it going. So, Dick and Jack, let's hope it gets going tonight.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Eddie Rosario with 2 down, taking strike 1. So far on the year, Rosario hitting .241 against lefties. There's no track record against Wilson.
You want to see balls hit hard, like Trevor Plouffe. That was an out, but that could be the kind of thing that propels them, at least Trevor, maybe to have a good game. You got to remember how the Twins started this season. It looked pretty anemic early in Detroit and Chicago, and yet they were able to put it behind them and still play baseball, and they got right back into the hunt. So they just can't. The good teams don't let it fester. They're able to stop the bleeding when it gets bad in a relatively short time.
Well, the last 2 games have been a little ugly, but what are we really talking about here? A 3-game losing streak.
That's right.
In the middle of July.
And a game they could have won in Oakland. They should have won.
But what makes it hurt is while the Twins have lost 3 in a row, Kansas City's won 2 out of 3, so they've widened the gap to 6.5 games. Kansas City leading Pittsburgh 5-1 tonight. Rosario taps 1 foul. You know, Twins fans, I guess, can be consoled with the fact that the Twins have the 5th best record in the American League. The 3 division leaders are ahead of them in the league rankings, and now the Houston Astros marginally with a better record than the Twins. But you don't want to think about the wild card. You know, that's a consolation prize. The ball hit on the ground. Ibar scoops it up, throws, and does Pujols keep a foot on the bag? Apparently so. Another 1-2-3 inning for C.J. Wilson. The Angels. Here's the Central standings the way it looks right now, with Kansas City winning, and Detroit has gotten back to the 500 mark, and Cleveland and Chicago a long ways back. Eric Ibar will lead off the second, and another leadoff hit. Ibar aboard with a leadoff single here in the second. The Royals dealt a blow yesterday. Jason Vargas had to leave in the second inning, and he was diagnosed with a torn ulnar collateral ligament that will require Tommy John surgery. Yordano Ventura, who had just been sent down to Omaha, was immediately recalled, and he will take Vargas's spot in the rotation. That's our Sanford Health injury report. Tough blow for the Royals, but undaunted, they just keep winning. Lose their left fielder, no problem. Lose one of their starting pitchers, no problem. Taking on a very good Pittsburgh team and leading 5-1 tonight.
Listening to a couple interesting sports talk radio shows, and they were saying that the Royals might be the first one to get out there in this trade deadline stuff and try to acquire another starter, that their fan base deserves it after the great support that they've shown.
They sold out again tonight at Kauffman Stadium. There's a strike. Pelfrey with a 1-1 count on David Freese. Pelfrey, when things were going good, 2 starts into his month of June, had an ERA among the league's best, 2.28. And he checks into the start tonight with an ERA of 4. Cracked foul, 1-2. The Twins team, however, ranks 5th in the American League, in the upper third in terms of starters earned run average. And what a far cry that is from what the Twins have run out there over the last 4 years. One and two. Santana just getting his season started. Tommy Malone will try to rebound from a disappointing start on Sunday. Santana will go tomorrow in the series finale. Just off the plate.
Should be a good pitching matchup in tomorrow's game.
Richards pitched a shutout his last time out. You know, and that's Tom Bernanke saying, hey, you know, our timing is off because of the All-Star break and all that. You come out here. You run into that Oakland pitching staff, starting with Sonny Gray. And there's a reason that year in and year out the A's have a really good pitching staff. Sometimes the names change from year to year, but they've got it going out there in the pitching department.
Well, this Angel staff has done a great job recently.
Yeah.
And that all adds to some of that hitting woes that we're seeing.
2-2 to David Freese. Double play grounded. Backhanded to Santana, and he rifles and throws him out. Good double play started by Dozier, 2 down.
To get a good sample size of why the Twins get excited about Danny Santana, you see Dozier doing a good job, feeding him perfectly, but that arm right there is special. To get rid of the ball and have something on it the way Danny Santana can is what gives the Twins hope that he can kind of get his act together, start being more consistent with his glove and his throwing.
Iannetta pops a foul and out of play.
Let's look one more time at this double play. You see Dozier making the flip, nice right up in the chest of Danny Santana, and then just a strong throw. David Freese does not run all that great, but still, he had to get rid of the ball and get something on it.
See the 2 Twins pitchers, Gibson and Pelfrey, 1 and 2, and ground ball double plays induced. 2 strikes now to Chris Iannetta. Hit a big home run that busted the game open last night.
Unlike Kyle Gibson last night, so far Mike Pelfrey is pitching ahead of the count.
21 pitches, 13 strikes, and now 1 and 2.
start pitching against the hot-hitting teams, of which the Angels are, really no hotter team in the game right now than the Angels, and you make mistakes and you pay for them. Iannetta hit a mistake last night's game, and that one up in the zone, right out over the plate. Strong guy, quick bat, ball goes a long way.
Third home run for Iannetta against Twins pitching, and Pelfrey knew it as soon as contact was made. 1-0, and now a foul into the seats, 1 strike to Joyce.
It's crazy when you throw enough pitches. There were times where I hadn't even released the ball yet, but I knew my arm slot was in the wrong spot, and I would start screaming, "No!" because you knew you were hanging it just by where your body was and relative to where your release is.
Fly ball left field, playable for Rosario. An Iannetta home run with the bases empty. The Angels strike first again tonight. Strongest fan photo is hashtag North Dakota Strong Fan, and you might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Along with Marty Gelder, Dick Bramer, and Jack Morris, bringing you West Coast baseball. The Angels have the lead. Aaron Hicks will lead off the third.
C.J. Wilson has been perfect through 2. 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down.
Bottom third of the lineup, Hicks, Fryer, and Santana. And Hicks bluffs the bunt, takes ball 1. Hicks hitting .256 as a right-handed batter, .255 as a left-handed batter. Up and away, 2-0. When starting 5 players who have less than 700 at bats in the big leagues. Sano, of course, with just 43 at bats. Rosario never played in the big leagues before this year. Hicks only has 604 big league at bats. He's been with the team for parts of 3 years. Two on one to Hicks. Santana with 640 at bats. A line drive left field for Aaron Hicks, and the Twins get their leadoff man aboard here in the third. Fryer will bat, but first join us September 4th for the Lynx Night Out ticket offer. Welcomed by Fox Sports North. For just $30, fans receive a ticket to the game, craft beer sampling, and a commemorative Lynx beer stein. For details, visit foxsportsnorth.com and click on upcoming events. Here's Fryer. 3 for 10 since his call up. Chris Herman catching every day and starting to swing it a little bit better at Rochester. Fryer was swinging the bat really well all year long for the AAA team. He takes strike 1.
Something that kind of went unnoticed last night is Kurt Suzuki, who caught Kyle Gibson. He got beat up quite a bit. Gibby threw a lot of balls down in the zone. And maybe that's why Paul Molitor's giving him a day rest.
Driven foul over the Twins dugout.
One of the other things, of course, is that Suzuki's really struggled at the plate.
And 2 for 25 against Wilson. So not a... Suzuki was not going to catch tonight and tomorrow. It's a day game anyway, and so the Twins getting Fryer in there to catch tonight, and very likely he'll come back with Suzuki tomorrow. 2 strikes to Fryer, and he takes one down the middle for strike 3. 3 strikeouts for Wilson, and 2 of them have been called third strikes. Here's Santana.
Wilson throwing a lot more fastballs, I think, than the Twins are expecting. In breaking ball situations, he's throwing those fastballs, kind of freezing guys. That's the one thing when you're going through a slump offensively. It seems like you're always caught looking for the wrong pitch.
Now Santana takes up and away, ball 1. Santana 235 at bats, 63 strikeouts, and just 4 walks. One of them was intentional. Down and in, 2-0. Santana 405 at bats last year. Resorted to drawing shortstop names out of a hat yet, but really hasn't been able to put anyone in there for any extended period of time with any confidence that either Santana or Escobar, to a lesser extent Nunez, would be able to take the job and run with it for a couple of weeks. Santana's had more frequent opportunities, had some problems in the field, and isn't hitting nearly as well as he did a year ago. 2-1, and there's a base hit to left. Hicks to second. The Twins have 2 runners on with 1 out in the bottom of the order, trying to get something done here. Dozier will come up with 2 men on.
Something that just haven't seen a lot here in the last couple games, but they've got something going here with a couple knocks. C.J. Wilson, for those of you that don't remember, pitched for Texas. Started down there, and here's a kid that was born and raised right close to Anaheim here in Newport Beach, California, and now he resides in Huntington Beach. So when he was a free agent, had a chance to make a decision where he wanted to go, he wanted to come home, and that's right here in Anaheim.
Quick trip to the mound by Chris Iannetta. Dozier 0 for 5 in this series with 4 strikeouts. Low, ball 1.
Those are the little indicators right there. Being able to lay off those really close pitches. You know, it's just one pitch, but sometimes that one pitch can make you realize that you've been jumping a little bit and you're able to track the ball a little longer.
Oh, the runners, and it's a double steal. Dozier takes ball 2 on a breaking ball down and in. Hicks the lead runner, Santana the follow-up runner. And the Twins have runners at second and third with nobody out, or 1 out rather.
Wilson doesn't check the runners at all, doesn't give that second look. Hicks, the lead runner, is kind of setting the pace for Danny Santana. Santana can't go unless Hicks goes, and he sees him break, so he breaks.
Dozier in a favorable count, 2-0. Chopped foul, 2-1. Bryant struggling in the series. I'd imagine he doesn't want this count to get to 2 strikes. Angels playing the infield back up the middle. If Dozier can at least get the game tied up here. Scooped out by Iannetta. 3-1 with Hunter on deck.
One of the things that Brian Dozier takes a lot of pride in is his runs scored. Starting with last year, talking to Tom Bernansky in spring training 2 years ago, he challenged him to try to be on base enough to score a lot of runs. And again this year, he's among the league leaders, only trailing Mike Trout here in Anaheim for the league in runs scored.
Also the team leader in runs batted in right now with 51, thanks to all the home runs. 3-1. And Dozier drives it to the gap in left center field. It'll score 2, and the Twins take the lead. Good at bat for Dozier as he drives in a pair with a single.
We talked about the mistakes that C.J. Wilson will make. Every pitcher does it a few times over the course of a 9-inning game. But Wilson right there, he made a mistake, a lot like Pelfrey did to Iannetta, and Dozier didn't miss it. You see the pitch location here. That's pretty much the kind of pitch that you want back as a pitcher. Dozier didn't miss it, hitting the gap, and the Twins are on the board and leading the game.
And now Hunter with a wild swing and a miss, 1 strike. The double steal leads to a couple of runs. Now Wilson would be well advised to keep an eye on Dozier. I haven't seen Dozier do as much running, but he does have 9 steals and 12 tries and still leads the team in that department. 1 strike to Hunter. And there's the check of the runner.
I'm pretty sure in the Oakland series, Dozier was kind of hesitant to do some running. I think he had a little bit of lower back tightness, and he was playing through it. I think that's all cleared up by now, but might be one of the reasons that he hasn't run a whole lot since the break.
Hunter got a pitch up and fouled it to the screen. That time Wilson picked up his front leg. Big leg kick.
Now the left-handers have that luxury. They can quick step. They can come up and pause as long as they don't break that angle. There's kind of an imaginary line that the umpires are watching from first base. As long as they don't bring that knee past that line, they can hold there as long as they want.
1 and 2. Good friend of mine, and I'm sure a friend of yours, former teammate Mark Guthrie, mainly a relief pitcher for the Twins. He picked off a lot of people, but yet runners said he was very easy to steal on because Mark always picked up that front leg. And a lot of base runners now with lefties will go on first movement. Quicker move to the plate. Hunter swings over a breaking ball, 2 down.
4th strikeout for CJ. That one under the hands of Torrey. Good pitcher's pitch. See, it starts off down the middle of the plate and then breaks towards that back foot. We talk about the slider being a back foot slider. That was a good example right there.
There's Mauer, a bouncer to second his first time. He's now 3 for 29 against C.J. Wilson. Working the count a little bit against Wilson like the Angels did in last night's game against Kyle Gibson. Hits 3 of them in this 3rd inning on counts of 2-1, 2-1, and 3-1.
50th pitch now for Wilson, so yeah, that's creeping up. Those are the little things that, and like you said, Dick, it's only 2 games that they've lost in a row that they look bad. They lost 3 in a row, but we're not talking about a major slump. It's just when you don't score a lot of runs in those 2 games, it looks kind of terrible, but they're having a lot better at bats here.
Strike at the knees. Joe this year has hit left-handers better than right-handers. That's not been that uncommon for him in his career. Hitting .282 against lefties, .272 against righties, but he's had a terrible time with this guy. Checked his swing, and it's 1-1.
Wilson is not what we'd call a long armor. He's kind of a short armor. He hides the ball fairly well for a left-hander. The ball sneaks up on you. He throws, like I said, his fastball in the low 90s, tops out there. But sometimes it looks a little bit faster than that because he's quick to the plate, not very deliberate.
2-1.
And I imagine in Joe's case, he probably doesn't pick up the ball quite as well. And it's sometimes just the difference between certain pitchers.
Hitters count. And now 3-1 with Sano on deck. And with 3 singles and so far a couple of runs. Singles enhanced by a double steal. Three and one to Mauer. Lace to left, a base hit. So another hitter's count. He's with 4 singles this inning on counts of 2-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-1. Snow will come up with 2 men aboard.
Twins stringing together a pretty good inning off Wilson. Now pitching coach Mike Butcher is going to come out and talk to CJ. See the last pitch for Joe. Ball that was left middle half in. Joe's got that great inside out swing. Shoots that ball to left field. Clean base hit. 4th hit of the inning. See if Sano can do something now with ducks on the pond.
That's the thing about last night's game. Iannetta opened the game up with a home run against Blaine Boyer, but it was just a succession of singles against Kyle Gibson.
See the pitch count there for Wilson, and he's already climbing the ladder.
Gibson gave up 10 hits. They were all singles.
Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot. It wasn't like they were crushing the ball. A lot of those were seeing eye singles.
Now Sano on a check swing takes ball 1. Paul Molitor has said that when he has been in the lineup, he's already noticed teams are pitching not around this guy, but they're pitching him with great care because they know what he can do to a baseball, particularly now in a favorable count, and that's been the theme of this inning. Twins taking advantage of Wilson's inability to get ahead of batters, and now Sano standing up there with a 2-0 count.
Well, Bruno, Tom Bernansky has said that he wants to have him get one swing where he can come out of his shoes if he wants. And that would be this pitch coming up right now.
High 3-0, Plouffe on deck.
Good discipline. It's hard to lay off that pitch. You get ahead in the count, you see a fastball up in your eyes, and you want to come unglued. Sano showing really good discipline there, knowing that he's probably not going to catch up to that high heater.
He's green lighted here, isn't he?
Absolutely.
3-0 to Miguel Sano. And a one-hop smash to Freeze, and that'll end the inning. But the Twins get 4 singles, and a Brian Dozier single driving in a pair of runs, and the Twins take the lead. don't they look a lot alike?
You know, I haven't been up close to him. Dick Schofield was a former teammate of mine.
And Dick Schofield, it goes back to like the 80s and early 90s. And he was the son of a major leaguer. So when I saw Daniel Robertson, I thought, well, this has got to be Dick Schofield III. Another leadoff hit. Angels have led off every inning with a single. Daniel Robertson with a hit, not Dick Schofield III.
Yeah, Robertson with 2 hits in last night's game, so he's been doing a very good job filling in at center field for Mike Trout. Last night and tonight, Trout is DHing in this game.
Giavotella led off the ball game with a single. Just a weakly hit ground ball, but right up the middle for a base hit. Twins got a couple of runs on the top of the ninth Saturday night. It looked like they were going to steal one from the A's, but then Glenn Perkins, for the first time this year, misfired on a save opportunity, and then the A's won an extra innings. And then the blowout game Sunday, and to somewhat of a lesser extent, a blowout loss last night. Right now, the Twins in front 2-1. And almost a pitch out with Fryer squaring toward first base, but no throw.
That might have been a pitch out. One of the things that we're going to have to watch with Mike Pelfrey is when he was pitching well this year, he really never had a lapse. And some of the games that he hasn't pitched well, he'll be cruising along for a couple innings. There he goes.
Runner goes, and the pitch grounded foul with Giavotella trying to hit it behind the runner.
Mike Pelfrey has kind of had a lapse in some of those losses where he's cruising along and looking like he's in command, and it comes unraveled in a hurry, and his pace of game really slows down. He starts laboring and trying to be too fine with his pitches. So he's pitched out of the stretch here in all 3 of the innings that he's pitched in this game. Maybe he can get a ground ball double play here. There it might be.
Dozier.
Oh.
Santana can't make the play. All hands safe. Santana cutting to his left. The ball kicked off the heel of his glove, and it should be an error on the shortstop.
They'll give him a hit.
No, I don't think so, did they?
No, it's an error. Danny going hard to his left, but he's got a chance. And you nailed it, Dick. It was right off his heel. He's got to pick that ball cleanly. Dozier's there.
Almost see his head look up toward Dozier as if he was thinking of flipping it before he caught it. Now Calhoun with runners at first and second, nobody out. 16th error for Danny Santana. Some errors in Oakland, but they were throwing errors. On the outside corner, so Pelfrey, the veteran's got to bear down here and get another ground ball. Calhoun runs pretty well. Tougher guy to double up. Calhoun's bounced into 4 double plays this year. Missing inside, 1-1.
Pelfrey flirting with danger now. He's got the heart of the lineup coming with Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols. Nobody out. The Angels have done such a good job of applying pressure almost every inning. It just hasn't been any easy innings during this stretch where they've won 6 games.
Two and one. Inside move, trying to get Robertson back to the bag.
this is where Mike Pelfrey really needs to keep the ball down and hope that Calhoun will drive it into the ground and induce a double play. Nobody out. You let Robertson go to third base. Take your chances with Trout and Pujols with 2 outs. You need a ground ball right here.
Two and one to Calhoun. Three and one. Trout on deck. Now, a 1-run lead isn't prosperity from a pitcher standpoint, but one of the things we've seen from Pelfrey when the Twins have given him an early lead, he has not handled it particularly well. He's had those rough innings you spoke of, just to make sure this doesn't decay into one of those innings. Solidly over the glove of Dozier. Hunter had to get to the gap to cut it off. The throw coming to the middle of the infield, and the Angels have tied it up. Fell behind, and Calhoun whistled one into right for an RBI single. Avatella goes to third, and it's a 2-2 ball game.
Well, let's not forget that Robertson got to second base because of the error from Danny Santana, and that makes Mike Pelfrey pitch to one extra hitter. So he makes a mistake out over the middle to Calhoun, who's a strong guy. Tie game now with nobody out, runners on the corners, and Mike Trout, who was 0 for 1 in this game, with the plate.
The Angels already have 5 early hits against Pelfrey. Trout with a fly to right. Trout with 91 strikeouts and 340 at-bats. I wouldn't call Pelfrey a strikeout pitcher. About 5 per 9 innings so far this year. Sure use one here. Instead, it looks like a double play grounder. Another run scores. The Angels have the lead, and it's 3-2. No run batted in for Trout. The bases are empty. And that'll bring up Pujols with the bases empty.
The last pitch to Mike Trout. Ball's down and in, and he does not get the bat head. It just jams him enough. Hits it hard right at Danny Santana.
Pujols bounced to second to wrap up the first inning. His first time up against Pelfrey. Up and away, ball 1. Two and 0.
It's tough to pitch behind. For the great hitters, when you're behind in the count, no matter if there's anybody on base or not, you're asking for trouble.
And of course, Pujols is green lighted. 3-1. Carsoup.com trivia question. Who are the 5 players in MLB history with a .310 average, 500 home runs, and 1,500 runs batted in? Pujols is one of them. There are 4 others. Three and 1. And now 3-2. I asked his hitting coach, we were talking about Pujols last night a little bit. He doesn't strike out very often. And I asked Don Baylor, Pujols hitting coach, about his career. And I said, Don, what was the most you ever struck out? He said it was in 1986 with the Red Sox, struck out 111 times. And he said, I was embarrassed. It was the only time in his career that Baylor struck out 100 times in a season. And in Pujols' first year, he struck out 93 times, and he hasn't struck out more than 76 times since.
I absolutely get a kick out of what you just said. Don Baylor was embarrassed. There isn't a guy in...
That was his term, not mine.
No, but there isn't a guy in baseball that strikes out 150 times that's embarrassed.
Santana picks it up, fires across. Twins get 2 in the top of the third, and the Angels get an unearned run and an earned run to retake the lead.
He happens to be standing on the daddy doorstep. Trevor and his wife Olivia are expecting their first child. It's a little boy. Her due date is in 3 days on Saturday, but she'll be induced in a week if the baby hasn't arrived yet. Trevor told me today he has a plan in place. If his wife calls and it's go time, even if he's on the field, he's headed immediately back to Minnesota. But Trevor also said he thinks the baby will come once the team gets back home, once he's settled. It's going to be all smooth sailing for him, or so he thinks. But either way, Dick and Jack, the phone is near, and it could ring at any minute.
Exciting time. Talked to Trevor's mom today. She's excited about her impending grandmotherhood. Strike called, 1-1.
I think that's a wonderful thing, and the absolute right thing, this paternity time for young fathers and mothers. I remember my first child. I was pitching right here on this field when my wife was due, my first child, and I didn't make it back in time because I was asked to pitch a game here, and by the time the game ended, I already had a newborn son.
Did you win?
I think I did. All I know is a red eye all the way back home to Detroit at the time.
2-2. Well, baseball has changed in a lot of ways, and there's no question it's become a more compassionate pastime, with players being allowed to get away from the business at hand for family situations. There's a ball hit hard to center. Back is Robertson. Back is Robertson. And he makes the catch up against the center field fence.
Wow.
A fine catch by Robertson, and the Angels aren't missing Mike Trout's defense in center field at all. Trevor's hit 2 balls right on the button and doesn't have a thing to show for it.
Get another look at it as Robertson goes back and Throws that glove up just before he hits the wall. That's a fine play right there. Trevor Plouffe getting robbed of an extra base hit.
Down and now Rosario. And a pop-up near the Angel dugout. Iannetta with room makes the catch, and Rosario very quickly retired for the second out. Two gone, and that'll bring up Aaron Hicks. He led off the third with a solid single to left. Worked the count to 3-1 and ripped a single. Ended up scoring the first run of the game for the Twins. Yeah, strike. Team coming into the game with a batting average of .251. Hicks a few ticks above that at .255. Checked his swing, and it's 1-1. Byron Buxton reported the pain has subsided from his sprained thumb. Swelling has gone down, more range of motion. I imagine the Twins will announce some sort of course of action for Buxton to try to get him back. Hicks will try to walk that foul ball off.
You can pretty much guarantee it's not going to be jump back into the big leagues. He's going to have some rehab somewhere.
1-2. Twins with 4 singles. They all came in the third inning. Hicks got one of them. Down and in. 2-2.
Aaron's going to get a couple good looks here as C.J. Wilson. He's been patient at the plate, working the count his first at bat and getting the first hit for the Twins. Having a pretty good at bat here the second time too.
And now a full count. Fryer on deck. Angels have won 6 in a row. In those 6 games, gave up a total of 7 runs. That's up the middle. Hicks has another solid hit.
Right through the wickets.
Hicks has shown the ability here in his third stage as the Twins outfielder. He worked the count a little bit, and he has a couple of 3-ball singles here. This one coming with 2 outs. Spend your summer at Target Field. Become a Twins season ticket holder with a new Pick 10 plan. You pick 10 games left on the schedule, save off the box office price. You can enjoy sweet spot benefits exclusive to Twins season ticket holders, including 10% off game day food and merchandise at Target Field. Call 612-33-TWINS or go to twinsbaseball.com/pick10. What the Twins do here with Hicks, they executed a double steal with Hicks and Santana and 1 out in the third. Fryer takes outside a ball. Hits are even at 5.
When C.J. Wilson takes that slide step, he's got a very quick time to home plate. It's going to be awful hard for Aaron Hicks to try to get a good jump. And you got to hope that he picks up that leg and does not go to first where he can get a good read.
Leg kick and Fryer swings through a fastball.
Fryer looked at a fastball for strike 3 in his first at bat. Another fastball away here to Eric Fryer.
foul over the Twins dugout. Trying to build a threat here with 2 gone in the inning.
Angel outfield is shaded a little towards right field. Robertson shaded that way. Calhoun a little closer to the line and right. So it looks like they're going to try to pitch Fryer away.
Takes just inside. Close pitch. 2-2.
After 2 balls away, they come back inside, and it just absolutely locked up Eric Fryer.
Like a strike from up here, but it was inside. Thank you, Fox Tracks. Fouled back. Santana hoping for a chance here. Twins down a run. Hicks with a half step towards second base. Tigers won today. Royals won today. White Sox lost. And the Indians won.
They're coming back with a breaking ball here.
In the dirt. Nice take by Fryer. It's a full count.
Yeah, he's having a good at bat here, working the count.
Angels did such a good job of that, I thought, last night against Kyle Gibson. Even after Gibson left the game, Iannetta worked the count full. Boyer had to come in with a pitch. Iannetta was waiting for it, and he clobbered it for a 3-run home run. We'll see what Fryer can do with 2 outs and a full count. Pujols will play behind Hicks. He'll be able to leave early. And ball 4. Santana will have a chance with the tying run in scoring position.
First walk of the game for either team. Pitch count becoming a little bit critical here now for C.J. Wilson.
Santana singled and scored. Had a 2-1 pitch that he lined into left field. Tracks presented by Chrysler. And with Hicks at second last time, the Twins executed the double steal, and Wilson and Giambatella tried to pick off Hicks here in the 4th inning. Pops it up short center field. Robertson coming in, and it's Ibar, the shortstop, making the catch. The Twins started a 2-out threat, couldn't finish it off. Bottom of the 4th, they're down a run.
FordNorthland.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Morning, Gelner, Jack Morris, Dick Bramer here. The Angels in front, 3-2. Mike Pelfrey pitching to Eric Ibar to start the Angel fourth. And a breaking ball over, strike one. Ibar singled starting the second, and let's see if Mike Pelfrey can successfully retire the leadoff batter. That's been one of his issues over his last few starts. And again here tonight, seems like he is forever pitching from the stretch. Tap right side, that should get the job done. Mauer to the bag, and Ibar is retired. And for the first time tonight, Pelfrey's gotten the leadoff batter.
It makes a difference. Mike has thrown a lot of strikes to the leadoff guys. Unfortunately, he's given up 3 hits in 3 innings, so to lead off the fourth here with a out, maybe that'll get him going.
One down. David Freese, the batter, hit into a double play. Pelfrey's had 2 of those turned behind him. The go-ahead run right now. The 3rd run for the Angels scored on a ground ball double play. And there is strike one. Inside. Freese, that sounded like it hit the bat. And Kerwin Danley is checking, I think, with first base on Rob Drake to make sure he didn't see it just hit the bat. And that's what Paul Molitor is going to come out here and challenge. That had a wooden sound to it. And you hope Freese is okay. But let's listen to this if we can. That hit the bat. I don't think that hit his hand at all.
That's a real good acting job right there. I don't know as though this is reviewable, but no question that hit the bat. And it looked to me like it was several inches above his hand on the bat.
Rick Smith, the trainer, coming out. We had this happen earlier this year. And Freese is going to come out of the ball game. So it was Gene Segura of the Brewers who acted as if he'd been hit by a pitch. And Pelfrey offering some words of apology to Freese, who apparently has got to leave the ball game.
Well, this is going to be the best angle.
Well, it did hit the top hand.
Might have hit his thumb. Taylor Featherstone's going to come in and run for him.
The Freese is going to be okay, but we have seen it happen before when Gene Segura of the Brewers put on an elaborate acting job and eventually had to go back to home plate and complete the at-bat. Doesn't sound good when a player has, usually you see the player trying to stay in and then it just kind of stiffens up on them and they eventually leave. Here, Freese immediately.
Well, that may have got like his thumbnail, maybe a fingernail, because the hand is wrapped around the bat.
Ground ball to short. How many can they get? One, and Dozier does a good job getting that. Santana's throw kind of sailed. It's about a 50-foot throw. Dozier was able to make the catch, keep a foot on the bag for out number 2.
Danny gets to the ball quickly, but it's that throw and position. Brian Dozier has to go to his left to really lunge for that ball, and then he doesn't have the ability to push off. So that was a very doable double play. But Danny Santana's got to throw the ball over the bag more, or even to the back side of the bag, because Brian Dozier loves to push off the bag going behind it to turn the double play.
The Twins over the course of the year have drastically improved their outfield defense. And try to put it succinctly, we're now seeing plays that could have been made that are made. The problem has been in the infield, where plays that should be made have not been made. There's no error on that play. But with Iannetta running, as you said, that could very easily have been. And maybe should have been an inning-ending double play.
Solid defense on the right side. Brian Dozier has really solidified and become that everyday second baseman. Joe Mauer has really improved and become a very good defensive first baseman. And really, Trevor Plouffe, we can say the same thing about, although last night he got out of the way of a ball that he should have caught.
Yeah, when I say the infield, of course, specifically I'm talking about the shortstop position. Right. 2-1 to Matt Joyce. And that will spin back into the seats.
This is really a weakness, I believe, for the Angels, is the left field position. Matt Joyce, he's been in the big leagues for quite some time, bounced around with a couple teams, has been playing almost every day in left field for the Angels, and just not getting the job done offensively. Mike Pelfrey needs to attack right here and get that third out.
2-2 to Joyce. Now a full count. With 2 down now. Iannetta early for first base. Pelfrey trying to get the number 8 batter, so the number 9 batter would lead off the 5th.
Joyce just hitting a .183 coming into tonight's game. Flew out to left field. So these are the kind of guys you've got to go after. You do not want to give them a free pass. Make them hit their way on.
3-2 to Joyce. And Pelfrey issues a walk. So in the inning, a hit batter and a walk. 2 men aboard. And Daniel Robertson.
That is Mike Pelfrey's first walk of the game, but it now puts another runner in scoring position. And Robertson kind of hot right now. 2 hits in last night's game, a hit and a run scored in tonight's game.
17 plate appearances, and Pelfrey's only retired 9 batters. He's been fortunate to get a couple of ground ball double plays. To left field, Rosario over, makes the catch, and that ball sailed at the very end and nearly went all the way to the wall. 2 men left aboard. We head to the 5th in a 1-run game. 3-2 Angels in front. Brian Dozier will lead off the fifth. He drove in the 2 for the Twins with a third inning single. Taylor Featherstone in at third base for the Angels in place of David Freese. Dozier, Hunter, and Mauer facing Wilson here in the fifth. And a strike on the outside corner. Dozier struck out in the first, cracked a 2-run single in the third. All 5 hits for the Twins have been singles. 1-1. Astros beat the Red Sox 4-2. Houston's now won 3 in a row as they try to keep pace with this very hot Angel team. 2-1. The Royals enjoying a 7-game lead over the Twins now. It's the largest divisional lead of the 6 divisions.
They just keep winning.
Inside now, 3-1. Got the leadoff man on in the third, and they went on to score a couple of runs. Dozier trying to get aboard starting the fifth. And he takes a fastball for a strike, 3-2. He is the team leader in runs batted in, the 2 tonight, giving him a 53 on the season. And Dozier strikes out for the 5th time in the series, 1 down. Coming up on July 25th, a DQ sensational Saturday. The Twins taking on the Yankees. And the first 10,000 fans get a Brian Dozier bobblehead presented by Fisher Nuts. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets. Get your tickets today. Torrey Hunter, the batter. Torrey struck out his last time up. A strike. And now a ball. Up the middle. Sharp single. Hit the mound. And it still got to center field in a hurry. A 1-out single. That'll bring up Joe Mauer.
I was talking with Torrey in the Oakland series about time off, and he said, you know, it's just kind of like what Tom Berdansky said about his hitters, that all-star break being 4 days now. He said it's nice to have the time off, but he said timing is something that can be thrown off with time off, and baseball is such a game of repetition, and you play every night. Hitters especially, I think, are affected by it.
Mauer drops a bunt up the line, foul. Featherstone playing a very deep third base.
Well, Joe will do that occasionally, and he's one of the Twins that can lay down the bunt. That one just rolling foul. C.J. Wilson busted over there fairly quickly, but when the ball gets halfway between third and home and it's right next to the line, most runners are going to be able to beat it out.
Joe singled sharply his last time up, but he has not had much success against Wilson. That might have contributed to the bunt attempt. 1 strike. A strike call over the inside corner. Mauer shaking his head, doesn't agree.
Not happy with that call right there. Home plate umpire Kerwin Denley said it was a strike. And Fox Track says it wasn't. So Joe having a pretty good reason to argue that one.
0-2. Tapper right side, and that ball scoops to Giavotella, and Pujols can't catch the throw. That That ball kicked low, and Giovitella did a nice job gloving it. It looked like the throw was on target, but Pujols didn't glove it.
Take another look here. Joe rolls one over here, finds the hole, gets by Pujols. Giovitella throws it. The ball's a little low, but it's a clank from Pujols.
Never even got the glove on it. Looked like it hit him in the leg. Nope.
Right off the end of the glove, then the toe. So it's going to be an error 3. Error on Albert Pujols.
Well, the Twins made an error, and the Angels got an extra run in the 3rd inning because of it. We'll see if the Twins can take advantage of this error. Sano at the plate, 2 on and 1 out. So struck out on 4 pitches, looking eventually in the 2nd. And then he worked the count 3-0, got green lighted and hit a 1-hop smash to Freeze, who caught the ball, went to the bag to end the 3rd inning. Ball 1.
I know it's asking a lot out of a young hitter, but this is where the Twins need that power guy to be able to drive a ball in the gap, to be able to hit the ball over the fence.
Pulled foul. Gene Glenn showing
dance moves that we haven't seen since the 70s
agility
and 80s.
that made him such a great all-around athlete in high school at Waseca.
Mr. Basketball.
1-1 to Sano. Marnie mentioned an inning or so ago that the Plouffe are expecting a baby, and whenever it happens, it is assumed that Sano, as long as he's able to, will take over at 3rd base in Trevor's absence. Played 1 game over there. 2-1. Wilson to Sano. 3-1. Plouffe on deck.
Sano having another good at bat. Activity now in the Angel bullpen. Fernando Salas, who threw in last night's game, is up and throwing now again for the Angels. There's Salas.
Called strike, 3-2. Sano thought it was ball 4. Spot a slider down and in. Probably a good take for Sano. Full count. Sano hits one to right center field, chased by Robertson. He makes the catch. Tagging from second, going to third is Hunter. And that's out number 2. That'll bring up Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe has hit the ball right on the button twice, once to Ibar, and then he drove Robertson back to the fence, leading off the 4th inning, and Robertson corralled the ball right before he hit the center field fence.
Hardest ball hit by the Twins in this series so far. What's going on?
Well, they do that here. Plouffe takes down and in. Now the fans here at the ballpark are using the flashes from their phones to
distract.
I don't know whether that's the intent or whether it's even possible, but
maybe it's that angel dust. You know, it's the impression that they're trying to give all the viewers from other cities.
1-0 to Plouffe. Inside, 2-0. He's trying to cash in here. They've been sorely in need of a clutch 2-out hit. Oof. with a grand slam Friday night in Oakland, hoping to get a bigger hit here. Inside, and it's 3-0. Plouffe has been swinging it pretty good here tonight. Again, he doesn't have much to show for it. Do you green light him? With Rosario, the rookie, on deck.
Yeah, you have to let him be swinging here. You want your guys that can drive the ball to take a good swing if they get a pitch. And Trevor thought that was going to be in, so obviously it's nothing that he wanted to take an offer at.
100 pitches for Wilson, and he's still looking for his 15th out.
29 in the third, 20 in the fourth, 22 here in the fifth inning.
And there is ball 4. And now they're loaded up for Rosario. Rosario had kind of a tough go of it on this West Coast road trip. 0 for 2 tonight. Bouncer to short and a foul out on the first pitch he saw. Popped it up. Iannetta caught it for the second out of the fourth inning.
Mike Scioscia wants to give C.J. Wilson a chance to be in position to win this game. He's got a complete 5. He's got the 1-run lead. Rosario with a base hit could ruin that. Joe Mauer at second base could score. Twins would take the lead.
Rosario takes a strike on the outside corner. And Rosario was called up. Paul Molitor said of Rosario that he seems to enjoy the moment. Moments like this. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Considers himself a run producer. Blocked by Iannetta.
I think all the good hitters relish these opportunities. Let's face it, you get a hit in these situations, you get a lot of praise. Your teammates love you, front office loves you, coaches love you, fans love you. Opposition hates you.
See what you can get done here. Line foul, 1-2. Need a new bat. Maybe hit it off the end of the bat, maybe crack the bat. Wilson gave up 4 hits, a couple of runs in the third inning, and left 2 men aboard, left 2 more men on in the fourth. Now trying to leave the bases full.
More than likely going to be his last inning, no matter what. If he can get through it here. Rosario trying to ruin his day.
I suppose within that, we thought that it might be his last batter, one way or the other.
Yeah, it could be.
1-2 to the rookie. Ibar scoops it up, flips to Gianvitella, and Wilson has completed 5 wobbly innings with the lead, 3-2. Fan who was attempting to eat a hot dog. This guy's just trying to get the peanut shell opened up.
Yeah, Mom, come on. Buy him the ones in the jar that are already shelled.
That's no fun. More fun trying to crack them open. Pitches up to Johnny Giavotella. Were you a seed guy? Sunflower seed guy?
Occasionally, pumpkin seeds were something that kind of came into the game during my time, and they were a little more fun because it took a little longer to shell them.
Pitches up again, 2-0.
I found that most of them were too salty. I could only eat a few. I wasn't a guy that had to have them.
Giavotella, Calhoun, and Trout in the Angel fifth. Hasn't exactly been a smooth ride for Mike Pelfrey either. He has given up 3 leadoff hits. He got the leadoff man in the fourth, but then hit the next guy, walked another guy 2 batters later. So 18 plate appearances, and Pelfrey's retired 10 batters.
But his pitch count in a lot better shape than C.J. Wilson.
And now it's 3-1.
It's actually kind of remarkable that Mike Pelfrey has struggled the way he has and still has quite a reasonable pitch count.
This will be his 60th pitch. To center. Hicks going back. Still going back. Hicks falls down at the wall. Giavotella around second. He's on his way to third. You've seen Aaron make catches crashing into the fence and leaping at the fence. This time it looked like he was ready to reach for the ball, and he slipped and fell. An opening triple here in the fifth for Giavotella.
I was concerned that he might have hurt himself there, but clearly he just has his feet come underneath him there when he's trying to put on the brakes. You can see how he skidded there, and that's a case where he was going to play the ball off the wall knowing that it's there. Lucky that the ball actually hit his body because he was down. That ball gets by him cleanly. Giavotella might have had a inside the Parker.
As it is, the Twins bring the infield in. Runner at third, nobody out. And that will score Giavotella from third base. And the Angels now lead 4-2. 20 batters into the game, and Pelfrey's retired 9 of them.
Cole Calhoun picking up his second RBI and a second mistake pitch right over the middle.
With 7 hits. Pelfrey's retired 10 of the 20 batters that he's faced. Here's Mike Trout. Pelfrey's gotten him twice, once on a short fly to right, and then in the third. Runners at first and third, and nobody out. Trout hit into a double play, and that scored the third Angel run. Nice stop by Fryer, ball 1. Activity in the Twins bullpen.
Trevor May, who has not pitched a whole lot since being put into the bullpen, is throwing now.
Since pitching a scoreless first inning, Pelfrey has retired back-to-back batters just once. That came in the third. Trout and Pujols hit ground balls to Santana.
Well, we talked about it last night with Kyle Gibson, that it just wasn't an easy, smooth game for him, and it continues tonight with Mike Pelfrey. And I think part of it you have to give credit to the offense of the Angels. They grind out their at-bats.
Fly to center, and Hicks hardly has to move. Trout retired, 1 away. That'll bring up Pujols. Pujols, 2 ground balls, 1 to second, 1 to short. If you ignored the destruction he's wreaked now in both leagues, first with the Cardinals, now with the Angels, and you just looked at the lack of strikeouts, the walks, the batting average, you'd say he was a contact hitter. And you use that term regarding a hitter, and you think of somebody who gets a few singles, maybe an occasional double. But to do what he does, and mash and drive the ball the way that he does, I mean, there's no question he's going to the Hall of Fame. But, well, I mean, he really is putting up numbers.
Yeah, he's unique to this generation. And one of the reasons the Angels gave him, at the time, the largest contract in baseball history. And they signed him from the Cardinals.
Popped up. Mauer crossing the line. Makes the catch, 2 down. Two gone in the 5th. You can take your family to the ballpark this summer in the Minnesota Twins Our Family section, presented by Fox Sports North. Tickets in the alcohol-free section start at just $10 and include a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. For ticket information, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. Pelfrey's given up a run on a quick triple and single. Now the next 2 batters, Trout and Pujols, have been retired, and Ibar takes a strike. Ibar singled his first time up. Four runs allowed by Pelfrey so far, 3 of them earned. You can see the Twins, or specifically Pelfrey, done a nice job on Trout and Pujols, but the hitters around those 2 All-Stars have done a lot of damage here tonight.
Sign of a good ball club. When somebody takes a little bit of a break and is not producing, they have another teammate that steps up and does the job. That's what good teams have done in the past and continue to do.
Popped up to left field, and Rosario's under it. One more for the Angels, and they now lead 4-2.
here as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Hey, Twins fans, don't forget at Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs. If you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery's Winner's Circle, where you can win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Bert Blyleven taking some time off, as he typically does toward the end of July. He'll be at the Cooperstown induction, and among those being inducted, John Smoltz, who's now, like yourself, a broadcaster, but you'll be forever linked to John Smoltz based on Game 7 of the 1991 World Series. Your thoughts about John's career, and maybe, if you'd like to, the other inductees going into the Hall of Fame.
Well, congratulations, all of them, and it's something that they're all deserving. There's no question. Johnny had a great career. He was one of those crossover guys that was not only a great starter, but a great closer. So, like Dennis Eckersley early in his career, he was a starter. He was able to do the job at the back end of the game, too. So, but I'll always remind him that I beat his butt.
1 strike to Aaron Hicks facing Salas. C.J. Wilson with 5 innings. In position perhaps to pick up a win. He's got a 2-run lead, he and his Angel teammates. 1 strike to Hicks. And now a ball. Hicks with 2 singles, both solidly hit.
Twins have time. They need to get back into this game. Hicks has done a good job. Like you mentioned, 2 hits already.
Popped up, backing out of play, 1 and 2.
Those being both of those hits coming from the right side against Wilson, the left-hander. Now he has to turn around, hit left-handed off of Salas. This is the side of the plate that Aaron was discouraged with a year ago. But I think he's done a remarkable job when you look at his numbers and compare. Very similar from the right side as the left side.
And Hicks fires one down the left field line, foul. Coaching staff and the manager talk about Hicks and how he's so much better prepared for a game than he used to be.
He did something in last night's game that I was very impressed with, and that he caught a ball in center field, and the young Aaron Hicks would have tried to throw the ball airmail at home over the cutoff man, and he was able to just recognize that there was no way he was going to get the runner from second base at home, and he threw the ball to third base, which prevented the guy who hit the ball from going to second base. So those are the little things that players have to learn to help their team stay in a game. Did a good job last night defensively. He's having a good night here offensively.
Popped up, short left. Easy play for Joyce. 1 down. That'll bring up Eric Fryer. You can follow live Twins baseball every day with MLB.com at-bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Twins all season with MLB.tv Game of the Day, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. Browse the app's new features, including StatCast tracking videos and bilingual access for Spanish-speaking fans. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball. 1 gone in the 6th, and now Eric Fryer. Called out on strikes in the 3rd. He drew a walk in the 4th. And fouled away. 2 strikes. And for the second time tonight, Fryer takes a fastball for a called 3rd strike.
He's locked up on that fastball. And that's one thing that should never happen. And I'm being a little bit critical, but Eric Fryer should never get beat with a fastball. The great hitters never do. And that ball kind of in that down and in part of the plate, but No excuse for that. You've got to protect the plate with fastballs. First strikeout now for Salas.
Danny Santana 1 for 2, single and a run scored in the third, and he popped up, leaving 2 men aboard in the fourth. Strike one. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. Santana last year, we mentioned the 405 at bats, 27 doubles, 7 triples, and 7 home runs. And it's not just that the batting average is way down, but so far, just 10 doubles, 5 triples, and no home runs. Up, and it's 1-2. To center. Santana has a couple of knocks. He's down by 2 now, and might keep the Twins from trying to run Santana with Dozier at the plate representing the tying.
Santana with a hit from each side of the plate. Both of them were driven. Base hits, good, clean, crisp base hits. Good to see Danny swing the bat a little better here tonight.
Here's Dozier. He drove in the 2 runs with a single in the third, and that single has been bookended by a pair of strikeouts. 5 strikeouts for Dozier and 7 at bats in the series, and he takes strike 1. Twins need Dozier to do it one more time. Strike in the outside corner. Whatever he does, he'll do behind in the count 0-2. 20 home runs on the regular season with the 1 home run in the All-Star game.
Salas with 2 pitches, fastballs away on the outside corner, getting ahead. They've gone to the breaking ball. That's what they're going to do again.
Santana goes, and the pitch poked into right field. Calhoun got a late break, but he's there now to end the inning. A scoreless 6th for the Angel reliever, and it's still 4-2.
Mike Pelfrey back in the second inning gives up a home run to Chris Iannetta. The Angels on the board first. Brian Dozier singles. Aaron Hicks scores. Danny Santana scores. The Twins up 2-1. And then in the 5th inning, Cole Calhoun gets his second RBI after a triple by Johnny Giappatello.
See what Santana can do with this. Nothing. That ball either hit the plate or the dirt in front of home plate and bounced about 35 feet in the air. And it's a leadoff single for Taylor Featherstone in his first plate appearance, coming on for the injured David Freese.
Another leadoff hit. 4 out of 6 innings. The leadoff man has gotten on base. 5 out of 6.
So now Iannetta, a home run in the second to start the scoring. And then he hit a ground ball to Santana that the Twins had some opportunity at least to turn a double play, but they got just one. No damage done in the 4th inning, but then the Angels added another run in the 5th and lead by 2. Down and away, ball 1. Angels won all 7 games against these 2 teams last year, and they won the first one of this season series. A lot of people lost to the Angels last year. They won 98 ball games. They had more wins than anybody else in the American League. Not very often. Regardless of how good the Angels were last year, how bad the Twins were, that they're going to win all 7 games and have a clean sweep in the season series. 1-1 for the Angels catcher. Base hit to left. Continue to pick up hits in just about every inning. Got a single in the first, single and a home run in the second, 2 singles in the third, got a hit batter and a walk in the 4th, 2 quick hits in the 5th, and now 2 quick ones here in the 6th.
Well, they pounded out 13 hits in last night's game. Talk about their offense has been red hot. They continue to do it here tonight. Mike Scioscia kind of pieced it together with the bullpen last night. Fernando Salas pitched an inning, and now they have Trevor Gott up and throwing, so maybe another inning only for Salas. But Pelfrey's got to get out of this one first.
Joyce, the batter, with Plouffe in on the grass at third. Maurer playing in front of the runner at first. And he bunts foul. Joyce, as you said, struggling, hitting just a .180, .182 to be exact. And Scioscia's lasted as long as he has because he expects fundamental play. And even though Joyce made a name for himself with his power, this is a pretty big plate appearance in this game. Joyce needs to get a better bunt down on strike 2.
Mike Pelfrey desperately needs an out here. Cannot afford to give up any more runs. Twins have been scuffling at the plate.
2 bad bunts.
It's funny because every coach has taught every major league hitter how to bunt. And they teach every pitcher, even though it's an American league, with interleague play, they teach the pitchers how to bunt. And that's a prime example of how not to bunt. You're supposed to square around and get that bat out in front of you and just basically use your knees to go up and down with the ball. And yet so many guys at the big league level cannot get a bunt down. And with fastballs.
Joyce strikes out more than once every 4 times, and Pelfrey would love to pick up a strikeout here.
He's going to be swinging now. The infield has stepped back a little bit.
Safe at second, and the ball looked like it might have been headed either for the runner or into center field, and Santana did a nice job making the catch. Paul Molitor's out of the dugout here, and Pelfrey's going to dawdle a little bit.
One of the big conversations in yesterday's game was between Joe West, the home plate umpire in last night's game, and Paul's going to want to take a look at this. And Mike Scioscia, what the conversation was about is that his pitcher had to get off the dirt and could not come back on the dirt, otherwise it's not reviewable. And yet here tonight, Pelfrey did not go off the dirt, and they're going to take a look at it.
And I think the runner Featherstone's going to be called out based on the in-stadium replay. Dangerous throw because it looked like Santana had no chance moving to his left to reach back and catch the throw, but he caught it and made the tag at the same time. Right there, and you can see the hand has not reached the bag yet, and it's not that close.
It's going to be a critical call, and he is out. So a huge out for Mike Pelfrey right there, and a great effort by Danny Santana to just catch the ball. Kind of could be a turning point in this ball game right there. Twins caught a break.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Joyce now with the batter, and of course there wouldn't have been a pickoff at second had Joyce dropped down the bunt in the first place. He had two cracks at it. Now a pull shift in the infield for Joyce, and the count's 0-2. Check swing. They'll look at third base. Umpire Joe West says he went. And that's one of the worst at bats of Matt Joyce's season. 2 down.
Just the first strikeout in this ball game for Mike Pelfrey. Fastball on the last pitch that was up, and Joyce just could not lay off of it. He went around. Frustrating at bat for him. Really a game changer.
Here's Robertson. Outside of ball. Robertson with a single and a run scored. The single leading off the third inning. 2 men on and 2 out. Robertson hit a liner to the left center field gap, intercepted by Rosario. Fouled away, 1-1. Pelfrey had not pitched since July 9th. Twins felt that perhaps one of the reasons his starts had been less and less effective, just the workload. A guy who was injured most of last year, by his own admission, came back too early from Tommy John surgery the year before that, wanting to be able to count on him for a good final couple of weeks. That's a ball knocked down by Mauer, and Pelfrey to the bag, got him, and that play may be challenged by the Angels.
Pelfrey late getting over there, and his reaction was because Joe Mauer had a dive, jump up for that ball and get a glove on it. Now Mike Scioscia is going to take a look, and he is not going to review or not challenge this. So what he saw was that Pelfrey did beat the runner to the bag.
And a pickoff, a strikeout, and a very close play at first base.
Oh my! How do you rule on that one?
Bottom line, a scoreless 6th inning for Mike Pelfrey. Sounds of the game, hitting coach Tom Bernansky talking about the inevitable breaking of the hitting slump for the Twins lineup.
We were just been talking to a bunch of guys in the cage right now is that what you're seeing is that collectively our timing is off right from the get-go. I know we won a game in Oakland on a couple swings, on a couple home runs, but collectively the at-bats haven't been as consistent as we want. And we just to preach, don't panic, don't think we got to come in and make wholesale changes in your swing. And it's more of a timing thing, and the drills that we do now is to try to increase their timing and awareness of what's going on.
Well, we've seen some signs of encouragement. Twins have a couple of runs on the board. The hits have all been singles. And we'll see if they can come back and win this ball game. Sometimes when a team is struggling, you look for plays to be made or good at bats. The Twins haven't had that really clutch at bat. Dozier's single, I guess, would fit under that heading. As you look at Trevor Gott finishing his warm-up tosses. But there in that 6th inning, there were a couple of plays that were made in the field.
Twins got to feel very fortunate to escape what could have been a disastrous inning right there without any runs being scored. Terrible at bat by Matt Joyce. And pickoff from Mike Pelfrey to Danny Santana really changed that inning around.
Mike Scioscia rolling the dice a little bit. He's got Mike Trout out in center field. He was the designated hitter. So the Angels have lost their DH for the balance of this game.
And you put a sore-footed Mike Trout out in center field after a guy just made a fabulous play out there.
With the pitcher entering the game as well, the pitcher spot will be 9th, and Mike Scioscia figuring, well, things go well.
Don't need it.
We won't need to see a pitcher hit anyway. Hunter leading off the 7th. It's 1-2. On the ground to Ibar. And Hunter retired, 1 away.
Corey got jammed just a little bit there.
Another way of expressing, I guess, how the game has changed. I mentioned the Twins with a 5th place starters ERA of 3.90, and the bullpen, which is considered to have been lately a bit of a disappointment, at about the same level, 3.88. It used to be that you would have your starters and they would have their earned run average, and then almost invariably the bullpen ERA would be higher because they are relief pitchers and they weren't used as much. We're talking years ago. Here's a ball grounded to left and a base hit. And the Twins get the tying run to the plate here, and Miguel Sano. But nowadays, you got the starters ERA and the contending teams, and by a bunch in many cases, the bullpen ERA is much lower than the starters because there's so much more emphasis placed on bullpens.
Well, bullpen's ERA, if they do well, they're going to have a great ERA. And if they give up a bad inning, it's going to be huge because they don't have the innings to balance it all out. Joe Mauer, as the beach ball's on the field, is on base for the 3rd time. He's got 2 hits and a fielding error by Albert Pujols allowed him to reach in the 5th inning.
Sano 0 for 3. Hit 1 ball hard in the 3rd inning, and I think the Twins have the guy at the plate they want at the plate, down by 2 with a runner at first. Fastball outside. Pitch 1-1.
So many of today's games are determined by the bullpen. It seems like this whole pitch count era has changed the way starters are viewed. They're guys to get the ball to the pen now. It used to be the pen was there to help the starter in his decisions, and now it's almost like the starter is there to get the ball to the pen, and the pen will decide the outcome of the game.
2-1 to Miguel Sano. First game back after missing a couple with a sprained ankle. He tried to tie it up but missed. The hands now 3-2 with Plouffe on deck.
Another at bat where Sano goes deep into the count. He needs to keep the wheel moving right here. Give Trevor Plouffe a chance, maybe.
3-2 to Sano. And he took up high, drew a walk. That'll bring Plouffe to the plate with 2 men aboard.
Another patient at bat for Miguel Sano. He throws up in the high 90s. A lot of fastballs that are well above 95 miles an hour.
As promised earlier in the game, we've selected the Data Strong Fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to #NorthDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Mike Butcher to the mound. And we'll see if Plouffe can finally get a payoff here for what's been 3 pretty good plate appearances. He lined out to Ibar in the second, sent Robertson, the then center fielder, to the wall in the 4th, and then drew a walk in the 5th. Twins need a hit here. Need to get at least 1 back here in the 7th. And a step off.
Twins had 1 out, 2 men on, back in the 5th inning, and failed to get a run across the plate. They need that to be reversed here in the 7th inning.
Outside a ball. And again, Trevor didn't get any hits yesterday, but he stayed on the ball, as they say, and hit the ball on the fly to the right fielder 3 times. He wasn't guilty of trying to pull the ball. And he stung the ball a couple of times here tonight. 1-0. Tapper to short. Out at second. Double play. And Gott pitches out of it. And the Twins come up empty-handed in the 7th.
Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's, with $1.69 iced coffees and 69-cent vanilla cones, you can get totes, treats, excited all summer long at McDonald's.
4-2, Angels in front. And the Twins will hand the ball to reliever Trevor May.
Most of those numbers coming from Trevor May as a starter. And I believe long term that's the goal for not only Trevor, but the view of the Twins, that Trevor will be back in the rotation at some point. Right now there doesn't seem to be a spot for him, but that could change here soon. So he's going to get his work out of the pen here and try to stay sharp.
Giavotella takes outside, ball one.
One thing Trevor has done a good job of this year is throwing strikes. He's not afraid to throw the ball over the plate.
Foul. For Mike Pelfrey, and I may have misrepresented his numbers on the day, 6 innings, 4 runs, only 2 of them earned. I think I might have said earlier 3 of them, but only 2 of them earned. Both runs in the 3rd inning were unearned runs. 1-1. It's to left center field. Another leadoff hit for the Angels, and Giavotella has reached all 4 times. Once on the Santana error, and he's picked up 3 hits tonight.
Angels just doing a great job of putting pressure on. Almost every inning in this game, the leadoff man has got on with a base hit, all but 1 inning. So even though there's a change in the pitcher, the results still continue for the Angels.
And that'll bring up Calhoun. Plouffe in on the edge of the grass. Big swing and a miss.
One of the adjustments Trevor May's had to make as a reliever is not knowing exactly how many pitches he's going to get in the bullpen in his warm-ups. And all of those pitches are coming out of the stretch, because that's what a reliever's job is usually, is to put out a fire. You're going to have runners on when you come in games. And yet he starts the inning, so he gets to throw out of the windup, and with a leadoff hit, he's right back to the stretch.
How'd you split your time when you warmed up before a start in terms of from the windup, from the stretch?
I probably threw a third or less out of the stretch, mostly out of the windup. I figure if I was working out of the stretch, I was in trouble anyway. So I wanted to throw out of the windup and convince myself that's where I felt comfortable.
Snap bat.
Oh,
and
no.
Dozier and Santana look at each other. Never looked like either one of them could have been able to make the catch. It's a miscommunication. And the Angels start the 7th inning with back-to-back hits.
It's a broken bat that just goes right out to second base. Probably Dozier's ball. It is on the second base side of the bag. But both of them look like the other guy's going to cover the bag and maybe try to go for a double play. Let the ball bounce. Just a little miscommunication. Tough play, really, for both guys. And defender of Santana and Dozier. That's going to be a tough play, but you got to communicate.
And the Twins will try to get Trout and Pujols out one more time. Trout and Pujols, are a combined 0 for 6. And yet the Angels have 11 hits. Up and in, 1-1. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
Well, Trout was hitless in last night's game because he didn't play. So Pujols, even though he got a couple infield hits, they've done a good job with both these guys tonight. But the game's not over yet. Trevor May's got his hands full. 2 base runners, nobody out.
1-1 to Trout. Whoa, foul right past Pujols. We've talked about this. We've had Kurt Suzuki get hit by a foul ball in the opposite on-deck circle. Danny Santana lucky to have a foul ball hit his bat in the last homestand. But look at this. You don't see that very often.
You know, it's funny, in amateur ball, especially at the young levels, they'll have the on-deck hitter hit on the opposite side of, in other words, a right-handed hitter. The kids will be on the first base side.
Popped up. And Hunter coming in, Dozier out, and it's Hunter with the catch. No infield fly rule called because the ball traveled to the outfield. 1 down. And that'll bring up Albert Pujols. Or Hank Aaron's on the list.
Eddie Murray, I'm guessing, might be on that list.
And Babe Ruth is. Ted Williams is. Manny Ramirez and Jimmy Fox were the other 4.
I guess Eddie didn't get enough home runs.
I don't know about his career batting average. Eddie got into the 500 home run club, but the .310 batting average might have taken him out of that answer. 1 down, and now Pujols. 2 ground balls and a foul out to Mauer. To left center field. Down for a hit. It'll score another run. And the throw to Santana. Pujols going to second base with an RBI double. An insurance run for the Angels in the 7th against Trevor May.
Outer half of the plate, Pujols kind of hits it off the end, but he's so strong. He hits it right between Hicks and Rosario. And then the way they lined up for the relay, nobody covered second base, so Pujols is able to run and get into second base with a double instead of a base hit.
And now Ibar will be intentionally walked as the Twins try to stay in the fringes of this game. Pujols, his 61st run batted in. Twins had a very brief lead. They scored 2 runs in the top of the 3rd, but the Angels came back, took advantage of a Santana error to score a couple of unearned runs. Now an additional run in the 5th, another one here in the 7th. And they're loaded up with 1 out. Taylor Featherstone chopped one off the plate, got an infield hit in his first at bat. We have not gotten word as to the status of David Freese. He left the ball game after being hit by a Pelfrey pitch. Somewhere it appeared on the right hand. Field in about halfway. Strike 1. Check swing, but it's a strike. 0-2. Batter for May here. He hopes to get a double play grounder and keep this game somewhat within reach. slides to his right to catch ball 1.
Trevor May is just doing something mechanically that it really catches my eye so many times. And the fact that when he releases the pitch, he really spins off. He's been hit in the backside so many times, and he does not follow through towards the catcher. He's always spinning off, not in a good fielding position to help his cause after he releases the ball.
And now 2-2.
The way around that is to try to drive your lead shoulder towards the target more, and that'll cause your upper body to follow through towards the catcher.
Foul. Gary DiSarcina was a really good shortstop in his time. He's the third base coach here for the Angels now.
No activity in the Twins' pen, so Paul Molitor and Neil Allen are going to let Trevor get himself out of this mess. They need him to suck up some innings here.
And this is a mess. Fly ball left field. Rosario with the catch and the throw. And Fryer with the tag save. The throw got to Fryer on a couple of hops. And we'll see if the Twins challenge this play at the plate.
Well, Paul Molitor is up, and probably he wants to take a look at it.
Very little to lose here.
We're going to get our first look right here.
And it looks like the tag was made to the rib cage before the foot hit the plate. Right there.
He'll be out.
So we believe the Twins will succeed in challenging two different plays here. The Twins are coming off the field. Rosario thinks he's gotten another assist. A successful challenge at second base, a pickoff, and the verdict is out. The Twins' challenges have kept the game within reach here, with Calhoun thrown out by Rosario, yet the Angels get another run in the seventh and lead it by 3. with a strong throw down the line. Actually, we've seen stronger throws. It looked like it was actually a 3-hop throw, but it was where it needed to be. Fryer in front of the plate fielding the throw, which catchers have to do now.
Got to give them the lane, the runner a lane. But you can't blame the Angels for running on Rosario after a couple throws offline yesterday.
Take a look at the throw again. And Fryer probably a little farther out than he would like, but he was able to lunge across and tag Calhoun. And looked like Fryer tagged Calhoun both with the glove and the bare hand with the ball. Joe Smith, sidewinding right-hander, will face Rosario to start the 8th inning. Talked with Paul Molitor today about this Twins lineup, and it's something he's dealt with to varying degrees all year long. A lot of inexperienced hitters. Now, if the Twins get something done here in the 8th inning, it will be with Rosario, Hicks, Fryer, and Santana. None of the 4 has as many as 700 big league at bats. Paul said, you know, they tried to bunch the experienced hitters more toward the top of the order, and that certainly makes sense. Those guys are going to hit more often. But also, he said, as the Twins are struggling here and yet remaining in contention, it's easier for him as a manager to stay patient when you remind yourself that these guys are still pretty green. The ball driven to left, and Joyce goes back. He won't get there. That ball hits the wall, and Rosario starts the 8th inning with an opposite field double.
You really have no choice as a manager when you have a little bit of the youth movement. You've got to see what they're going to do, and they're going to fail at times. I mean, shoot, the best of the best fail. So you've got to be patient and be positive, and that's one thing Paul has really done a good job. I don't think he has shown a lot of emotion. Whether they win or lose, Paul Molitor's pretty much been the same. He's been a steady influence for these young players.
There's Aaron Hicks. 2 singles and a fly to left. Down and away, ball 1. Twins saw a lot of Smith when he was with the Cleveland Indians. Margin's bigger, but this was time of the game when the Twins started to make some noise Friday night. There's a called strike over the inside corner, 1-1. Twins scratched across a couple of runs in the 9th to take a very brief lead. See if they can build something here around Rosario's leadoff double. Chopped to the right side. Pujols digs it out. Go to the bag. Rosario to third, 1 away. That'll bring up Fryer.
Fryer's looked at a couple called third strikes on fastballs. Let's just hope he doesn't get beat on a fastball this time.
Hasn't put a ball in play. He did draw a 4th inning walk, but the 2 strikeouts Jack spoke of were both called third strikes. Fastballs right down the middle. A miss. Strike 2. Another upper 80s fastball with some movement. If you saw Smith's numbers, he's always been a guy who's kept the ball in the ballpark. And now 39 innings pitched, he's not given up a home run.
One thing he does well is keep the ball down. That's part of the reason he doesn't give up a lot of home runs. And the fact that hitters don't see a lot of these guys throwing from the side almost under that 90-degree mark.
Your 91 Twins team had Terry Leach,
yeah,
who kind of threw in the same manner.
And baseball's always had a few of these guys in the game. Like I say, hitters, when they haven't seen them for quite some time, it might take an at-bat or 2 before they can get dialed in. And in this game, the way it is today, you won't see the guy more than once. So you get one at bat to maybe try to pick out a ball that you can hit.
Meyer strikes out swinging. 2 down. Angels have a good closer in Houston Street. He's lined up to pitch in the 9th inning. Twins would like to get one here after the leadoff double. Smith gets a big strikeout, and now Santana, who's gotten 2 singles here tonight, committing an error in the field that allowed the Angels to score a couple of unearned runs and retake the lead in the 3rd. Missing inside.
Danny Santana getting a little bit better reads there. You noticed how he took that pitch and he followed it all the way into the catcher's glove. And that's just a good indication that he's trying to take a good long look and work on that timing that Tom Bernansky talks about.
Outside, 2-0.
Sometimes I think the best thing a hitter can do when they're really anxious and swinging out of the zone is track the ball. Take a pitch if you have to early in the count, but watch that ball all the way in.
Chop foul with Santana swinging aggressively. Well, 9 hits for the Twins. Just 1 extra base hit, the Rosario double, and the Twins are in danger of wasting that. Rosario got a leadoff double here in the 8th. Three and 1 with Dozier on deck. And there's a walk, and Smith didn't want to walk the number 9 batter and face the top power threat on the team.
Danny Santana on for the 3rd time in this game.
Well, Ionetta to the mound.
Brian Dozier's leading the team in home runs. A home run right here ties this ball game.
Dozier just 1 for 7 in his matchups against Smith. Again, Smith has been very, very good at keeping the ball in the ballpark. Dozier hoping that Smith will elevate one a little bit and that he'll elevate it even further.
Now they're going to try to stay away from Dozier at this at bat. There's no doubt about it. If they make a mistake that stays in, Brian's certainly capable of driving it.
Strike at the knees. Up the middle, backhanded by Giavatelli to the bag. Smith may have deflected it. It was a pretty well hit ball up the middle, and the Twins leave 2 more on in the 8th inning. They've left 11 men on in the last 6 innings.
All right, thank you, my friend Chris Iannetto, leading off the 8th inning. It's the bottom third of the Angels batting order, which will include the pitcher, Joe Smith. Not that he's going to hit, but the pitcher spot is going to hit third. Iannetta's hitting. Joyce is in the on-deck circle, and we'll see who hits third this inning with a double switch employed by the Angels. They switched Mike Trout in the pitcher spot in the batting order, moving Trout into center field. He was the designated hitter. 1-2.
Well, Mike Scioscia's got 3 players on the bench: Grant Green, C.J. Cron, and Carlos Perez. So it'll be one of the 3, more than likely.
We would anticipate, especially since he's warming up in the bullpen, we'd anticipate seeing Houston Street pitch the 9th inning. And Iannetta's called out on strikes, 1 down. There's Houston Street. 24 for 27 in save opportunities.
Yeah, number 2 in the American League behind Glenn Perkins.
See Hunter, Mauer, and Sano sliding up to face Street in the 9th. Joyce 0 for 2 with a walk. That the Angels didn't add a run in the 6th, and be due largely to Joyce's ineffective at bat in the 6th. He tried twice. Mauer fielding a ground ball. He'll go to the bag 2 away. Joyce tried to bunt twice, fouled it, and then on a check swing was called out, leaving 2 runners on at first and second in the 6th. C.J. Cron will hit. Didn't get in the starting lineup tonight, even though he got 4 hits last night.
He did a great job of not doing too much. He basically was up there defensive and swung the bat accordingly. Got a couple balls that he could drive to the left side, but a couple balls like that one right there, just shooting it the other way, using his hands. He had a good night.
One strike. And now 2 strikes. May gave up 3 hits and a run in the 7th, but remember, one of the hits, the Calhoun hit, was a ball hit up the middle that it looked like either Santana or Dozier might have been able to at least knock down and get an out on the play. It trickled into center field. May finishes with a flourish, just blowing 3 fastballs past Cron to end the bottom of the 8th. So it will be Torrey Hunter leading things off in the 9th for the Twins. They need 3 to tie it up.
Houston Street in the game for the Angels, trying to extend a win over the Minnesota Twins, a winning streak over the Minnesota Twins to 9 games. He's got a 3-run lead to work with. Street, of course, started his career with the A's, then spent some time with the Padres, now here with the Angels. And he'll face the veteran guys that we spoke of earlier. Paul Molitor putting the Doziers and Hunters and Mauers, guys like that, up in the top part of the batting order. And it'll be Hunter, Mauer, and then Miguel Sano's already got 46 at-bats in his career.
Yeah.
But the Twins would like to get some guys on base in front of him.
Well, they need to grind it out here. There's still a chance. A couple bloops and a blast. This game could be tied.
Strike on the outside corner.
Street has been a very, very good relief pitcher, closer for a long time. And like I said, Dick, his whole career here in California.
Torrey 2 for 5 against Street. Mauer 2 for 7. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Of course, Sano's never faced Street. Twins with 1 9th inning comeback on this road trip, scoring a couple of runs Saturday night in Oakland. 1-2.
Houston Street from the windup is very unique. He steps well towards first base, downhill, and then has to come back uphill to get even to go back downhill.
Slides his foot across the rubber. Dennis Eckersley, you brought his name up before. He kind of did something like that.
Yeah, he pitches from the first base side of the rubber. You can see he's stepping way downhill, back uphill, and then back downhill.
And missing again outside, 2-2.
I would think that would take a lot of wasted, or a lot of extra energy that you're kind of wasting. That's why they teach a lot of young guys just to take a little baby step to get to that set position.
Hunter drives it to right, but short of the track. Calhoun's there, 1 away. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Irvin Santana, who spent the bulk of his big league career pitching here for the Angels, will pitch against them, and Garrett Richards, who came up with a gem his last time out against the Red Sox.
Yeah, Richards, one of the bright young guys on this ball club. He's already got 10 wins for the Angels.
Here's Mauer. He's reached his last 3 times. Twice on singles. Also reached on a Pujols error. And a strike. Hit to left, hanging in the air. Joyce is back and makes the catch, 2 down. And they'll bring up Sano with the bases empty. 299 saves in his career, and he's 1 out away from what used to be a benchmark for closers.
Yeah, that was almost Hall of Fame worthy for a while.
When Jeff Reardon crossed 300, we thought, well, that was it. That was like 500 home runs or 300 wins. But then Lee Smith, then Trevor Hoffman. Guys blew past 300 like on the midway point of their careers. One 1-0 to Sano. One and 1. And 26 other men have picked up 300 saves. On the outside corner, 1 and 2.
The way you said that, it sounds like, oh, ho-hum, you know, only 26. It seems like a lot. But then when you really think about the history of the game, that's not very many. The total history of baseball, only 26 other guys with 300 saves.
And outside 2-2.
Told that he would be the second youngest to get to that mark.
And 3-2. Sano worked out a walk in the 7th, trying to keep the game alive.
Again, Miguel Sano just showing that he's got discipline and a fairly good eye at the plate. He's not offering at that ball that's just off the outside corner, at least not yet.
Another walk for Sano. The game's still alive. So if the game ends before the batting order comes around again, Sano will have gone 0 for 3, hit one ball hard, but walked twice in the late innings here tonight. Plouffe get into an inning-ending double play in the 7th. Prior to that, he hit the ball on the button twice for outs and walked. Call. Plouffe trying to do what Sano did, just keep the game alive. Angels aren't holding Sano. Sprained ankle and all. He probably has second base if he wants it.
My guess is he's going to stay there.
And Plouffe bunts. Street picks it up and ends the game and gets his 300th save. Tried to bunt, but he bunted it right back to the mound. I think he wanted to put it up the third baseline. And the Angels now have beaten the Twins once again, 9 straight wins, all 7 games last year. And Tom Hanneman, they have won the first 2 games of this series.